Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, guys. Jiří Procházka will show Carlos Ulberg levels. Yeah, Carlos Ulberg, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated top contenders right now because a lot of people are saying that he's very dangerous. Even though I get it that he is an overwhelmingly favorite going to the fight, still, like in my opinion, right? Like as far as the top light heavyweight goes, I personally believe Magomed Ankalaev, Jiří Procházka, Khalil Roundtree, all of these guys beats the shit out of Carlos Ulberg. So I'll tell you who Carlos Ulberg is. Like I'll give you a quick summary of what he has done in like which like made him a title contender in the first place. So Carlos Ulberg, right? His most notable win is his last fight against Dominic Reyes, and but before that he fought Jan Blachowicz, and yeah, that fight went to a split decision, and most people, including me, are calling it M/R, calling it a robbery because it wasn't close. Like it was close, I guess, but still, in my opinion, it was clear 28-27 to Jiří Procházka without any bias. Sorry, to Jan Blachowicz without any bias. Yeah, I know a lot of people love Jan Blachowicz for obviously like he's like what he's done and how beloved he is as a character, but still, it was a clear robbery in my eyes and a lot of people's. So after that, after a big win against Jan Blachowicz, who also is been looking very bad, like not bad, he just looks a bit washed recently. Like after that fight, he also lost again. Like it wasn't a loss. I'm pretty sure it was a draw against maybe an unranked guy. I'm not sure. I forgot. So yeah, after that he fought Dominic Reyes, who was on a 3-fight win streak, a resurgent streak, and all three were, I'm pretty sure, like knockouts. I'm pretty sure like two of them were first round, and one against Anthony Smith was a second knockout. But the thing is, Dominic Reyes, first of all, he is washed as hell. Like ever since the John Jones fight, which is his defining fight, I guess, for his career. After that, win against John Jones, and if you call it, if you actually count it a loss, like if you after watching the fight, then get out. Anyway, so yeah, as I was saying, after that we obviously know he has never looked the same, Dominic Reyes, but still, like it was good. But the thing is, Dominic Reyes looked like the worst version of himself against Carlos Ulberg. I saw that fight live, obviously, and he like his chin was up on the air, and his defense was zero. He wasn't striking one bit at all. He looked absolutely shit. And the thing is, if there was Poaton or let's say Khalil Roundtree, for example, were in there with that Dominic Reyes, that version of Dominic Reyes, they would have also beaten the shit out of him, like honestly. So like after a win like that, it was impressive, not gonna lie. It is Dominic Reyes at the end of the day, but Dominic Reyes, who has been on a resurgent streak by beating nothing but bums, and also Dominic Reyes, who looked absolutely shit, like the shittest version of himself, let's just say. So yeah, that is Carlos Ulberg. Meanwhile, on the other hand, on the other side of the table, we have Jiří Procházka, who is just one of the most impressive pound for pound fighters right now. Like honestly, like like this guy, he has 100% finisher in the UFC, right? We know, and like we know like what he is capable of, and all of his fights ended in knockouts. And even though in his last fight against Khalil Roundtree, he was holding back, he was being patient, let's just say, for the first two rounds. Still, in the third round, he knew Khalil was gonna locked in. Like obviously that's a mistake that you only make once, and I'm pretty sure he won't ever make it again. Like just being patient and like playing it cool for the first few rounds. And I'm sure he's not gonna do that. I'm not saying he'll go up in Carlos's face and put his chin high up in there. I'm not saying that, but still, you have to understand, like Jiří has leveled up a lot. And the only unfortunate thing is, first of all, the only reason Carlos was said to be fighting for the title in the first place is because Jiří is the clear number one contender. Like when Alex beat the shit out of Magomed, and in that same card, Jiří had a fight against Khalil Roundtree. Yes, so Carlos obviously stepped in as the backup fighter. Fair enough, respect. Like for either Magomed or Alex. But still, after that, the only reason people wanted Carlos versus Alex is Carlos is fresh blood and nothing else. Like Alex already like knocked out Jiří twice, so we don't we like most of us know what's gonna happen in the trilogy if it did happen, but still, that's the only reason Carlos entered the title conversation in the first place. So after all of that, now being again, like fighting against someone as highly tested as Jiří Procházka, Jiří Procházka looks so impressive because he beat the best, not the best, like the second best version of Kyle Roundtree ever. He destroyed Jamal Hill, and the only reason, the only people he lost to is Alex Pereira. Is the only fighter, is the only guy he lost to, I guess. But another thing, in my opinion, is if this fight for the title after Alex vacated, if it was against Magomed Ankalaev, like Jiří versus Magomed, to me that is a much more interesting fight and a much more competitive fight, because I know Carlos is dangerous, but he ain't nowhere as good as like a lot of people in my community. Not a lot of people, one guy in my latest community poll, he told that in his eyes it's a 50-50, and yeah, I respect that opinion, but still, I don't understand like why you think of it like that, because like Carlos is dangerous, I get that, but he hasn't really been tested at the top level at all, and Yiri's defense, it will definitely play a big part in this fight, and if it will look anywhere as near as it has been for the past few fights, then yeah, I'm pretty sure Yuri will get it done. In my final prediction, Jiří Procházka by knockout in the third or fourth round maybe. So yeah, anyways, that's my thoughts on it, guys. You guys mentioned what you guys think, and inshallah, see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.